Hey plant people, welcome! Today we're talking about one of the absolute most popular houseplants you can get, the peace lily. But you know what? This isn't really about just soil and water. This is about learning to actually understand what your plant is trying to tell you.
Yep, you heard me. Chatty. Because beyond its gorgeous looks and its amazing ability to clean the air in your home, the peace lily has this really unique way of communicating. And stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to be fluent in its language.
So what is it saying? We're going to decode all the signals, from those super dramatic wilts to those confusing yellow leaves, so you can finally stop guessing and start knowing exactly what to do. And look, this isn't just me saying this. Plant expert Marina Remislow points out that this plant's communication skills take the biggest question mark out of plant care for new owners, and that's watering. Seriously, this one feature makes it an absolutely fantastic plant if you're just starting out. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. To really get your peace lily, you have to master its three most important words: light, water, and humidity. If you can get these right, everything else just falls into place.
First up, light. Now, here's the biggest thing people get wrong. Yeah, they can tolerate low light, they'll survive in a darker corner, but if you want those beautiful white flowers, surviving's not enough. You have to give it bright, indirect light. Think near an east-facing window. And the number one most important rule, no direct sun, ever. It will literally burn those gorgeous leaves.
All right, next, water. This is where you see the biggest difference in communication. On one side, you have the number one killer of all houseplants, overwatering. If you're seeing yellow leaves, if the base of the plant feels kind of mushy, that's a serious SOS. You gotta back off. But then, you get the plant's most famous signal, this super dramatic whole plant droop. Don't panic. That is just your peace lily very, very clearly saying, hey, I'm thirsty over here.
Oh, and a quick pro tip on the water itself. If you're doing everything right, but you're still getting those brown, crispy tips on the leaves, your plant might be telling you something about your tap water. It can be a little sensitive to chemicals like chlorine. The fix is super easy. Just try switching to filtered or distilled water and see if that new growth comes in a little healthier. And that brings us to the last of our big three, humidity. 60%. That is the magic number. You got to remember, these plants are from tropical rainforest floors, so they are programmed to love moist air. Nailing the humidity is the real secret to keeping those leaves looking lush and green.
So how do you do it? Well, you've got tons of easy options. Putting it in a humid room like a bathroom or kitchen is a great start. Misting the leaves a few times a week works too. But if you want to be the ultimate plant parent, a room humidifier is its absolute best friend.
Okay, so we've covered how to keep it alive. But we don't just want it to survive, we want it to thrive, right? Let's talk about how to get it to put on a real show for you.
And here's a fun fact that'll make you sound like a total plant pro. That beautiful white thing we call a flower? Yeah, it's not a flower. It's actually a special modified leaf called a spathe. The real flowers are all those tiny little bumps on that spike in the middle. Oh, and if that white spathe starts to turn green, don't worry about it. That's a totally normal part of its life.
And did you know there are a ton of different peace lilies out there? You can get everything from the little Wallacey, which is perfect for a desk, all the way up to the Sensation, which can get up to 6 feet tall and is a total showstopper. It's pretty amazing how much variety there is.
Okay, a good foundation is key for any plant. Peace lilies, they like soil that can hold on to some moisture but doesn't get totally soggy. You can mix up the perfect batch yourself with this super simple recipe. 2 parts regular potting soil, 1 part peat moss to hold water, and 1 part perlite to keep things draining well.
And when it comes to feeding, you want to keep it really simple. Here's the only rule you have to remember. Feed it a balanced fertilizer mixed to half strength about every 6 to 8 weeks. But, and this is important, only do it in the spring and summer. They like to rest in the fall and winter.
All right, let's get back to the communication part. I want you to start thinking of problems not as you failing, but as messages. Your plant is telling you exactly what it needs, and now we're going to translate.
We've talked about this one, but it's so important because it's the message you'll see the most. That crazy, dramatic, full plant wilt is maybe the clearest signal in the entire plant kingdom. It's just yelling, I'm thirsty. So don't freak out. Just give it a good, thorough drink and it'll pop right back up in a few hours.
Now, for the opposite message. And honestly, this one's more dangerous. If you see the lower leaves turning yellow and the soil is still wet, your plant is telling you, my roots are drowning. This is a big red flag for root rot. You need to let that soil dry out,
like really dry out, before you even think about watering it again.
Are you seeing brown, crispy edges? That is your plant saying, hey, the air in here is way too dry for me. This goes right back to that whole humidity thing. So what's the fix? Well, you can boost the moisture in the air, or maybe it's time to check your water quality.
And finally, the question I probably get more than any other. Why won't my peace lily flower? If the leaves look perfectly green and healthy, your plant is sending a very, very specific message. It's saying, I can't bloom in the dark. It's telling you it needs more of that bright, indirect light to get the energy it needs to make those gorgeous white spathes.
Okay, let's bring this all home. Here are the last few pro tips that are going to take you from a peace lily owner to a peace lily expert.
Here it is, your final cheat sheet. First, trust the wilt. It's your best friend for knowing when to water. Second, wipe those leaves down every month. Clean leaves breathe better. Third, snip off old flowers right at the base to tell the plant to make new ones. Fourth, don't be in a rush to repot. They actually like their pot to be a little snug to bloom well. And last, the golden rule you'll never forget. Low light for green leaves, bright indirect light for white flowers.
So there you have it. You're not just a plant owner anymore. You're a plant communicator. You officially speak peace lily. The only question left is, what's your peace lily gonna tell you? Happy planting!